So the difference is, another difference with the consultancy is you're usually working in-house with the design team. So you're very much on their turf, if that makes any sense. And it's the kind of same perturbation like we were talking about, like watching someone watch you work. It's like suddenly you have to go in and be your charismatic, inspirational self, and you're not even in your studio or your comfort zone. Like to me, because I mean the reason I had this whole presentation here, this the seminar, I wanted to hold it in a photo studio because this is one of the places that I'm really comfortable, and because this is where I spend most of my time. If I'm not in my home studio, but this is where I spend a lot of my year. So suddenly, and this is like neutral territory too, right? Because you're not in someone's apartment. You're not, I mean, because I've done runway shows in people's apartments, and it's just like you're in someone's house and you're in their space, and I mean, it's great and all, but there's just something a little bit limiting to it sometimes. And then, I mean, for me as a creative, I had to really like get outside of that. And then, photo studios are nice because it's a neutral territory, and everyone's bringing in their component. And runway shows are a lot like that too. But with consultancies, you're on their turf, and so you have to get really comfortable with being able to think and act really powerfully and be super creative, despite the fact that you are definitely being watched. Like you're there, you're basically you're getting paid to be watched. And which is like, you're not gonna turn on that paycheck, so you just make it work. So for me, I've had to develop a lot of practices around what I need to have with me. I've got to make sure there's internet. I've got it, because things will come up while we're going through my inspiration where I want to add them and show more things. And so making sure that working with my assistants to make sure all the tools I need are going to be available at the consultancy site wherever it is. I mean, some of these places I work, they have the most locked down internet. Like you would think that they worked at the Pentagon or something. And I'm just like, really? But it's like calling ahead and finding out. It's like, am I going to have internet access? I mean, some of them, they don't have even cell phone service. So it's like learning how to be able to take care of my job no matter kind of where I am with these consultancies, and you're on site with them over and over and over again. So that's kind of another big difference with the consultancy. A consultancy can include a lot of things. I mean, I've found that consultancy, what they're really looking for from me is strategy and research. And then sometimes you do shopping, which I love shopping. Do you have a question?
I was just to ask, do you think it takes more time and effort to research for editorial or for consulting?
It's about this. So the question is, does it take more time to research for editorial or consultancy? Or is it more difficult? It is very similar. And the process, the thing about the consultancy is you do it over and over and over again because you're with them for the 6 months. So you're continually refining it. You're continually refining the story. And with editorial, you usually have a 2-week window, so it's like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You're like in and you're out, and you sometimes have to make choices faster. And the good thing about editorial too, and it's not that it's good and bad. With editorial, you're usually only working with maybe the photographer, but probably only the magazine editor. And with consultancy, you're working with the whole team. This is a situation where you're dealing with every cook. And I've been in situations where I'm with that design team and have all sorts, mass market or high end, and then intern that has an opinion. And that's totally fine, I'm totally cool with that. But it's like, I have to sell the intern too. It's like you are selling the entire design team. Because the minute you walk out the door, that intern can throw you under the bus. And all your research and your consultancy can go out the door. So it's really about taking care of a whole team of designers. Usually it's designers. All of my consultancies, sometimes I've had a consultancy, once or twice with marketing people, like with a marketing team, and that was really working on collaborations and strategies and building identity in the fashion marketplace. But most of the time you'll be working with designers to help create product lines and things like that. So yeah, so the research is it's not necessarily more difficult, it's just more drawn out. And you do it over and over again, you keep re-editing. Because someone will be like, oh, I love this, and I don't like that, and so you go back and you do it again. Which I find is really fun. You really hone in your voice and story. It's a whole nother level of voice and storytelling. Because you're bringing in all these other elements, and you have to you're basically creating one united voice in a design team. and you help guiding them to that together, which is really fun. It's really difficult, but it can be really fun.